Golden Time stands for one of the good pursuits, which is hope. In the video about how I wrote the music for Golden Times, I mentioned that there was a specific event that kind of made me want to write a song about nostalgia and reminiscing, and this was in 2013. As I mentioned in that video, I came up with the first version of the track, of part 1 anyway, in December 2013. The event that I'm going to talk about happened in November. Do you know that feeling of emptiness inside of you when something really great and beautiful ends? 2013, 2014, that was the last year at university for me, and the tradition was that the 5th graders, so the students that were about to graduate that year, were supposed to organize a ball for all of the teachers and all of the students who were studying English language, either as a single major or a double major. So in 2013, in November, it was us who organized the ball. And there was quite some preparation that went into it. I sang there a few songs. We had these like a cool scene that it opened the whole thing. It was like, you know, my brother came in and we were having a shootout with guns and stuff. It was really cool. And the whole ball started, I think, at like 6 p.m. It ended at 4 a.m. So 10 hours, and it went by like this. And for a couple weeks after this ball, I felt this huge emptiness inside of me. And this is kind of what I feel even when I finish a really great series of books, or I finish a great TV show, or where you're part of something really, really cool. When it ends, you feel this emptiness, and the only cure, it seems, is to be back at that place with the people and just relive it again. Or you give it a lot of time and eventually you're gonna, move on.
Sometimes I just wish that I could still be there, enjoying every second like it would never end.
So this was such a strong emotion for me, and also I had experienced it quite many times even before it, that I sat down and I just came up with the first draft of this track. And basically since 2013 until 2021, shortly before it had lyrics, the song was always referred to as the nostalgic song. Do you know that feeling of emptiness? Do you have it too? You can let me know in the comments below, and if you have any specific stories to share, definitely let me know. Do you miss those golden times? Now, what are golden times? It's probably something different for everybody. It may be a decade, just a few years, or even just a couple of months. For me, there's definitely a lot of stuff that I would put into the category of golden times, but there was one thing in particular that was really fueling me when I was writing the words for part 1 and all of the emotions behind parts 1 and 2. Since April 2017 until June 2017, I was part of the Stevie Hart and Friends, the Pink Floyd show. You can find the whole gig on YouTube. I will probably post it somewhere in the description below. Those 3 months were definitely the highlight of my musical career. 8 musicians, for the most part just the 6 of us, but together 8. We're working for 3 months endlessly on this set list of like 14 tracks from Pink Floyd. It was no bullshit. It was so great. It was really on a very professional level. We played in a sold out city hall in my hometown, and it was the best experience ever. Obviously, we kind of went into the project thinking that that would be for years and not really that gig would be the end of it. None of us really knew that it would end, but that's a story for another time. But with every passing year, those 3 months were just becoming more and more like this memory that I felt extremely grateful for, but at the same time I was like, oh my God, like, is that it? Like, is this the best thing I've ever been through as a musician? And will I never be part of something that cool?
Wondering if there are golden times ahead that will make me feel as those before. Will my memories have to suffice instead, as they won't occur?
And obviously, when it comes to my first album, Pursuits in Life, and my upcoming album, Pursuits in Life 2, I'm much more proud of it than I am of what I did in Pink Floyd, obviously. But it's just that, especially my second album was such a solitary experience, and being with other people and rehearsing. And it's not just about a Pink Floyd show, up until that point, I always had regular rehearsals with bands, which is one of my favorite things to do. I was with the band Bad Pools 2009, 2010. Then I was with Graceful from 2011 to 2012. Then from 2013 to 2017, it was Hard Rock / Sleep of the Lip. Then the Pink Floyd show. Then we rehearsed for my first album, and then I never had rehearsals again. It was such a strong experience for me that that's really what part 1, called Nostalgia in Golden Times, is about. It's about looking back at either certain thing in particular or more things or anything that's really in the past and feeling grateful. You kind of want to go back and relive it again, but you also want to look forward to what comes next. You want to look forward to equally great experiences. And I really hope that there's a similar project in the future for me, or maybe something on that scale within my own music, which would be even cooler. Part 2, called Regret, is mostly just a bass solo, and it really emphasizes that emotion of regret. Then we go to part 3, which is called Hope, and it's extremely important, not just for the song, but for the whole album. Golden Times is a track that's gonna be the last track on Pursuits in Life 2. It's gonna close the record. When we look at the lyrics of all of the tracks, they're very serious, they're very dark. For example, the first track, Vortex, is genuinely a hopeless song. Even the tracks like Lonely Crossings, it's really personal and it's really sad. And even though I usually try to include some takeaway message in the lyricism so that you don't really feel devastated when you listen to it, when you think about the words, there's not that much of it on the second album. And that's why I think it's extremely important that Golden Times ends the whole record on a promise of hope. Is equally important for the track as it is for the record. I basically refuse to accept the fact that this is it. That everything I've been through, as great as it was, that's it. No, I believe that the best is yet to come and that there are still great things waiting for me. Now, I don't know what form they might take. Maybe some of those great things are not even related to music or anything similar, even remotely similar to the Pink Floyd show experience. But they're still great nonetheless. Just like the first album with the track Cortex Labyrinthus ended up on a high note in terms of the lyricism and in terms of like this very optimistic final thought, it's the same with this record. And I think that ending it with this track and with this section and with these words really makes you probably want to go back to the record and listen to it again, because all's well that ends well.